Courtney Crimsen. What a pretty name. And yes, a very pretty girl as well. Pretty hair, pretty smile, perfect skin. And also, you're very nice. Everyone says so. Yes, Courtney, you're sweet to everyone you meet in the halls. You're sweet to everyone as they walk with you to your car after school. You're definitely one of the most popular girls in school. And you are just so sweet. Right? Wrong. Yes, my dear listeners, Courtney is nice to whomever she comes into contact with or whomever she's talking to. And yet, ask yourselves, is it all a show? I think it is. Now, let me tell you why. First off, to everyone listening, I doubt Tyler will let you see the pictures he took of me giving Courtney a back rub. If you have seen those pictures, lucky you. I'm sure they're very sexy. But as you now know, they're also very posed. Posed. What an interesting word to sum up Courtney's tale, because when you're posed, you know someone's watching. You put on your very best smile. You let your sweetest personality shine. And in high school, people are always watching, so there's always a reason to pose. I don't think you do this intentionally, Courtney. And that's why I put you on these tapes, to let you know that what you do affects others. More specifically, it affected me. Courtney Crimsen. The name sounds almost too perfect. And, as I said, you look perfect, too. The only thing left is to be perfect. So that's where I give you credit. You could have taken the bitch route and still had all the friends and boyfriends you could handle. But instead you took the sweet route so everyone would like you and not a soul would hate you. Let me be very clear. I do not hate you, Courtney. In fact, I don't even dislike you. But for a time, I thought you and I were becoming friends. It turns out you were just grooming me to be another tally mark under people who think Courtney Crimsen is a really neat girl. Another guaranteed vote for most liked in the senior yearbook. And once you did it to me, and I realized it, I watched you do it to others. Here, Courtney, is your contribution to the anthology of my life. Did you like that? The anthology of my life? I just made it up. The day after Tyler took the candid shots of our student bodies began like any other. The bell to first period rang, and Courtney, as usual, ran in a couple seconds late. Not that it mattered, because Mrs. Dillard wasn't there yet either. Also not unusual. When you were done chatting to the person in front of you, Courtney, I tapped you on the shoulder. The moment you looked into my eyes, we both began laughing. We spoke a bunch of 2 or 3 word sentences, but I don't remember who said what, because whatever you said were my thoughts as well. So weird. I know. What the hell? Can you imagine? So funny. Then, when Mrs. Dillard finally came in, you turned around to face the front of the room, and when class was over, you left. It wasn't until I stepped into the hall on my way to second period that I thought, wait a sec. She didn't say goodbye. Did you say goodbye on any other day? No, not often. But after the previous night, this time it felt intentional. I guess I thought that after what we'd experienced less than 24 hours before, we would now be more than just casual acquaintances. But that, evidently, is what we'd become once again. We said hello in the halls, and sometimes you said goodbye to me after class, but never more than you said it to anyone else. Until the night of the party. Until the night you needed me again. Let me tell you that there is a much bigger, more important party later in the tapes. But this is the party that brings Courtney into the mix. I was at school, backpack on my shoulder, heading out of first period when you grabbed my hand. Hannah, wait up, you said. How are you? Your teeth, your smile, flawless. I probably said fine or good. How are you? But truthfully, I didn't care, Courtney. Every time our eyes caught each other in a crowded hall and I watched your gaze jump to someone else, I lost a little more respect for you. And sometimes I wondered how many people in that one hallway felt the same. You went on to ask if I'd heard about the party later that night. I said that I had, but that I didn't feel like going and wandering around looking for someone to talk to. Or I didn't feel like wandering around looking for someone to save me from talking to someone else. We should go together, you said. And you tilted your head to the side, flashed your smile, and, though I'm probably imagining this, I think I even saw you bat your eyes. Why? I asked. Why should we go to a party together? That obviously took you by surprise. I mean, you are who you are, and everyone wants to go to a party with you. To at least be seen entering a party with you. Everyone. Boys, girls, it doesn't matter. That's the kind of admiration people have for you. Most of them, unfortunately, don't realize how carefully you plan that image. You repeated my question. Why should we go to a party together, Hannah, so we can hang out? I asked why you wanted to hang out after ignoring me for so long. But of course, you denied ignoring me at all. You said I must have misread things, and the party would be a good chance to get to know each other better. And although I was still suspicious, you are who you are, and everyone wants to go to a party with you. Great, you said. Can you drive? And my heart tumbled a bit. But I pulled it back up and ignored my suspicions once again. Sure, Courtney, I said. What time? You flipped open your notebook and ripped out a piece of paper. In tiny blue letters you wrote your address, the time, and your initials. CC. You handed me the paper, said, "This is going to be great," then gathered up your stuff and left. Guess what, Courtney? On your way out the door, you forgot to say goodbye. So here's my theory as to why you wanted to go to a party with me. You knew I was pissed at being ignored by you. At the very least, you knew I was hurt. And that was not good for your flawless reputation. That had to be fixed. D4 on your map, everybody. Courtney's house. When I pulled up to the curb, your front door flew open. Out you came, bounding off the porch and down the walkway. Your mom, before shutting the front door, bent down to get a good look inside my car. Don't worry, Mrs. Crimsen, I thought. No boys in here. No alcohol. No drugs. No fun. You opened the passenger door, sat down, and buckled up. Thanks for the lift, you said. A lift? Already having doubts about why you invited me, that was not the hello I wanted to hear. I wanted to be wrong about you, Courtney. I did. I wanted you to see it as me picking you up so we could go to a party together, and that is very different from me giving you a lift. At that moment, I knew how the party would play out for us. But how it ended? Well, that was a surprise. That was weird. We parked 2.5 blocks away, which was actually the closest spot we could get. I have one of those car stereos that continues playing even after I shut off the engine. It won't stop until someone opens the door. But that night, when I opened the door, the music didn't stop. It just sounded distant. Oh my God, you said. I think that music's coming from the party. Did I mention we were 2.5 blocks away? That's how loud it was. That party was absolutely begging for a police visit. We took our place in the stream of students heading to the party, like joining a bunch of salmon heading upstream to mate. When we got there, 2 football players, never to be seen at a party without their jerseys, stood on opposite sides of the gate collecting beer money, so I reached into my pocket for some cash. Over the loud music, you shouted to me, "Don't worry about it!" We got to the gate, and one of the guys said, $2 a cup. Then he realized who he was talking to. "Oh, hey, Courtney, here you go." And he handed you a red plastic cup. You nodded your head in my direction. The guy smiled, then handed me a cup. But when I grabbed for it, he didn't let go. He told me his replacement was coming any minute and that we should hang out. I smiled at him, but you grabbed me by the arm and pulled me through the gate. Don't, you said. Trust me. I asked why, but you were scanning the crowd and didn't hear me. Then you said we should split up. And do you want to know my first thought when you said that, Courtney? Gee, that sure didn't take long. You said there were a few people you needed to see and that we should meet up later. I lied and said there were some people I needed to see too. Then you told me not to leave without you. You're my ride, remember? How could I forget, Courtney? But you smiled at me, and finally you said the magic word. Goodbye. And goodbye was exactly what you meant. Was I disappointed when you said goodbye to me, Courtney? Not much. It's hard to be disappointed when what you expected turns out to be true. But did I feel used? Absolutely. And yet the whole time Courtney was using me, she probably thought she was polishing up her image in my eyes. Can you say backfire? That party turned into a night of firsts for me. I saw my very first fist fight, which was horrible. I have no idea what it was about, but it started right behind me. Two guys were shouting, and when I turned around, their chests were about an inch apart. A crowd began to form, egging them on. The mob became a thick wall, not about to let the situation die down. All they needed was for one chest to close the gap, even accidentally, and it was on. And that's what happened. The bump of a chest turned into a shove, which right away became a fist pounding a jaw. After 2 more punches, I turned away and pushed through the wall of people, which, by that time, was 4 bodies deep. Some in the back were standing on tiptoes for a better view. Disgusting. I ran inside, searching for a bathroom to hide in. I didn't feel physically sick, but mentally, my mind was twisting in so many ways. The only thing I could think of was that I needed to vomit. In Health, we once saw a documentary on migraines. One of the men interviewed used to fall on his knees and bang his head against the floor, over and over during attacks. This diverted the pain from deep inside his brain, where he couldn't reach it, to a pain outside that he had control over. And in a way, by vomiting, that's what I hoped to do. Watching those guys pummel each other so no one would suspect them of being weak was too much for me. Their reputations were even more important than their faces. And Courtney's reputation was more important than my reputation. Did anyone at that party actually believe she brought me there as a friend? Or did they simply think I was her latest charity case? I guess I'll never know. Unfortunately, the only bathroom I found was occupied. So I went back outside. The fist fight was over, everything had returned to normal, and I needed to leave. When I approached the gate, the same gate where I entered the party, guess who was standing there all by himself? Tyler Down, fully equipped with his camera. When he saw me, the look on his face was priceless and pitiful. He crossed his arms, trying to shield the camera from my view. But why would he do that? Everyone knows he's on the yearbook staff. But I asked anyway. What's that for, Tyler? What? Oh, this. Yearbook. And then, from behind me, someone called my name. I'm not going to tell you who because it doesn't matter. Like the person who grabbed my ass at Blue Spot Liquor, what he was about to say was just an after effect of someone else's actions. Someone else's callousness. Courtney said I should talk to you, he said. I looked behind him. At the far end of the yard, 3 silver kegs sat in the middle of an inflatable pool full of ice. Beside the pool, Courtney was talking to 3 boys from another school. The boy standing in front of me took a slow sip from his beer. She says you're fun to hang out with. And I started to soften. I started letting my guard down. Sure, maybe I was right and Courtney was only concerned with saving her image. Maybe she thought that by sending a cute boy over to talk to me, I'd forget all about her ignoring me at the party. Yes, he was kind of cute. And okay, maybe I was willing to have a little selective amnesia. After we spoke for a while, this guy said he had a confession to make. Courtney didn't actually send him over to talk to me, but he did overhear her talking about me, and that's why he came and found me. I asked him what Courtney said, and he just smiled and looked down at the grass. I was through with these games. I demanded to know what she said about me. That you're fun to hang out with, he repeated. I started rebuilding my guard, brick by brick. Fun. How? He shrugged. How? Ready for this, everyone? Our sweet little Miss Crimsen told this guy, and whoever else was standing within earshot, that I've got a few surprises buried in my dresser drawers. And out of the corner of my eye, I watched Tyler Downs start walking away. By now, the tears were welling up. Did she say what was in there? I asked. Again, he smiled. My face felt so hot. My hands started shaking, and I asked him why he believed her. Do you believe everything people say about me? He told me to calm down, that it didn't matter. Yes, I told him. It does matter. I left him to have a little conversation over by the keg pool. But on my way there, I had a better idea. I ran up to Tyler and stood in front of him. You want a picture? I said. Follow me. Then I grabbed his arm and led him across the yard. Tyler protested the whole way, thinking I wanted him to take a picture of the keg pool. They'll never print it, he said. You know, underage drinking? Right. Why would they want a yearbook that showed actual student life? Not that, I said. I want you to take a picture of me. Me and Courtney. I swear, at that moment his forehead was glistening. Me and the back rub girl. Together again. I asked if he was all right. Yeah, no, sure, fine. And that's an exact quote. Courtney was in the middle of having her cup filled, and I told Tyler to wait right there. When Courtney saw me, she asked if I was having fun. Someone wants to take your picture, I said. Then I grabbed her by the arm and pulled her over to Tyler. I told her to put down her cup or the yearbook wouldn't be able to use it. This was not part of her plan. She only invited me to the party to clear her beautiful name after ignoring me for so long. A permanent photograph linking us to one another was not supposed to happen. Courtney tried to pull out of my grip. I don't want to, she said. I whirled around to face her. Why not, Courtney? Why did you invite me here? Please don't tell me I was just a chauffeur. I mean, I thought we were becoming friends. We are friends, she said. Then put down your drink, I said. It's time for a picture. Tyler aimed the camera and focused his lens, waiting for our beautiful, natural smiles. Courtney lowered the drink to her side. I put my arm around her waist and told her, if you ever want to borrow anything from my dresser, Courtney, all you need to do is ask. Ready? Tyler said. I leaned forward, pretending someone had just told me the funniest joke in the world. Click. Then I told them I was leaving because the party sucked. Courtney begged me to stay. She told me to be reasonable. And maybe I was being a little insensitive. I mean, she wasn't ready to leave. How would she get home if her chauffeur didn't wait around for her? Find another ride, I said. And I left. Part of me wanted to cry for being so right about her invitation. Instead, on the long walk back to my car, I started laughing. And I shouted into the trees, "What is going on?" And then someone called my name. What do you want, Tyler? He told me I was right about the party. The party does suck. No, Tyler, it doesn't, I said. Then I asked why he was following me. His eyes dropped to his camera, and he fiddled with the lens. He needed a ride home, he said. At that, I really started laughing. Not specifically at what he said, but at the absurdity of the whole night. Did he really have no clue that I knew about his night prowling? About his nocturnal missions? Or did he sincerely hope I didn't know? Because as long as I didn't know, we could be friends, right? Fine, I said. But we're not stopping anywhere. A few times on the ride home, he tried talking to me, but each time I cut him off. I did not want to act like everything was okay, because it wasn't. And after I dropped him off, I took the longest possible route home. I explored alleys and hidden roads I never knew existed. I discovered neighborhoods entirely new to me. And finally, I discovered I was sick of this town and everything in it. Next side.